Hello, I'm Laura Bennett with German with Laura, and this is my fourth video in a 10-part series on how to learn German smarter, not harder. In this video, I'm going to share with you a flowchart that I devised that will help you accurately predict German noun plurals almost 100% of the time. This video stands on its own, so if you haven't had a chance to watch the first three videos in this series, you can get caught up on them later. So the thing about German noun plurals is just like noun gender, they're frequently taught as being completely random, just something that you have to memorize with each and every noun. But the truth is there are principles and patterns that we can work with to make it a much more efficient and effective process. Firstly, let's think about what plurals are like in English. As per usual, in English, it's way easier. We really have just one option, which is add an S. Table becomes tables. Flower, flowers, bear, bears, car, cars. In a handful of instances, we have to add an extra E first before the S, or even an I, ES. Doesn't happen very often. Then when it comes to true outlier plurals in English, we really have very, very few of those. For example, man becoming men, wife, wives, goose, geese, mouse, mice, and then a handful of nouns that actually don't change in their plural form at all. In contrast to English, German noun plurals are 4 to 9 distinct endings or modifications that we make to German nouns that take into account things such as how the noun is spelled, what gender the noun has in the singular, how many syllables are in the noun, and which syllable is being emphasized. In my system, I use 6 endings. Here they are. Now, if you've worked with German plurals a little bit already, you've possibly heard that the en plural is used by 90% of feminine nouns, and that the e plural is used by 90% of masculine nouns and 75% of neuter nouns. Then add to that most of the time, if you have an English loan word or a French loan word, it's going to take the S plural. This covers a lot of nouns, mathematically speaking. But there's a problem with this system. There are so many common everyday nouns that you're going to use all the time that use other plural endings, such as the no change ending, the E and umlaut ending, which is what these two dots are right here, that's the umlaut, and the ER and umlaut ending. So for example, to say family members, Vater, Bruder, Mutter, Schwester, those use the no change ending. Or also table settings like plate and bowl, fork, knife, spoon, those all use this no change ending, and you use words like that all the time. And window and pillow and floor, right? So common everyday nouns using this no change ending, and it's the same concept for these other two endings here. That's things like chair and foot or ball, so on and so forth, book and light, okay? Words, again, that you use all the time. So just working with this information here is not going to cut it. But I have a plurals hierarchy flowchart that takes all of these 6 endings into account and shows you how to accurately predict the correct plural for your noun almost 100% of the time. German noun plurals is such a big topic that I actually devote an entire module to it in my German Foundations course. What I'm going to share with you here now is the briefest synopsis possible, but you can also click down below in the description on this video and visit my website to read the article that I wrote on German noun plurals, where I go into much greater depth and give you more examples of how to work with this plurals hierarchy flowchart. Okay, but for now, here we go. First, the meta overview. Okay, the way to think about this is that we have a train full of all the German nouns in existence, and it's going to go to a total of 5 stops, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At each of these stops, certain nouns are going to get off the train and take the ending indicated by the arrows, right? That point to particular plural endings there in the middle. Okay, so this chart uses 4 different variables for how German plurals are determined, like I was talking about earlier. So at train stop number 1, it's all about noun endings, which is another way of saying how the noun is spelled. Okay, if you have particular endings that are listed here, then your noun's going to get off the train stop at train stop number 1. In train stop number 2, we have gender being a very important factor, okay? At train stop number 3, with the English and French loan words, this is going to be about how the word is pronounced, which syllable is being emphasized, okay? Train stop number 4 is all about monosyllables, so this is about how many syllables the noun has, and then gender also comes into play, okay? So now to give you some examples at each of these train stops. So train stop number 1, you always have to start at 1, right? This is hierarchical. So whatever your noun in question is, you have to look at this list of noun endings, which has been color-coded, right, with red for masculine nouns, green for neuter nouns, blue for feminine nouns, and then black for endings that can be any gender, okay? And if your noun has one of these endings, right, so it ends with ant, right, or it ends with hien, or it ends with za, it gets off at this train stop and simply takes whatever ending is being indicated, right, by the arrow. If that doesn't apply to your noun, however, it has to keep traveling to train stop number 2, and we ask a different set of questions to see if the noun has to get off the train at that point. So at train stop number 2, we have all feminine nouns getting off here that didn't already get off at train stop number 1. Okay, so that's going to be polysyllables, monosyllables, all the remaining feminine nouns get off here, and they take this en plural, right? Because again, 90% of the time, feminine nouns in German take this particular plural. Then we have what I call weak nouns. There are 3 different categories of these, but the only one that I'll mention now, because it's the most important, is male persons. So again, all male persons that did not get off at train stop number 1 because of having a particular ending are going to get off the train here. These are usually going to be professions of foreign origin, such as Pilot becoming Pilotin, or Diplomat becoming Diplomatin. Okay, if that, however, doesn't apply to your noun in question, it has to keep traveling to train stop number 3. At train stop number 3, we have English and French loan words getting off and taking the S plural. And at this point, we have to pay attention to how the word is being emphasized, okay? If it's an English word that gets off here, it has to be emphasized the same way that we say in English. So for example, das Meeting in German, coming from English, is emphasized the same way that we say meeting in English. We're not saying in German meeting, we're saying meeting, just like in English. So it gets off at train stop 3 and takes the S. In contrast, though, the English loan word talent, right, is being emphasized on that second syllable, not how we say it in English. In English, we say talent. In German, you say Talent. And because of this difference, Talent has to keep traveling in our system here. It does not get off at train stop number 3. Then with the French loan words at this junction, it's actually the opposite of the English loan words. The French loan words are all going to be emphasized on the final syllable, such as façon will get off here and take an S, or engagement, right? Emphasized on that final syllable, gets off here and takes an S. All right, so then if train stop number 3 didn't apply to your noun either, we keep traveling to train stop number 4. And at train stop number 4, we have all the remaining monosyllables get off. So the single syllable nouns such as Ball and Tisch and Buch and Licht. Okay, so now the thing is, if your noun gets off here at train stop number 4, it's going to be either a masculine monosyllable, like der Ball or der Tisch, and then it's going to take the E and umlaut plural, okay? Or it's going to be a neuter monosyllable, such as Buch and Licht, and it's going to take the ER and umlaut plural. So Ball, as a masculine monosyllable, will become die Bälle. And then Tisch, check this out, this is an important point. It's going to still take the E, but that umlaut that we're supposed to put on, we're forced to leave off simply because I's and also E's cannot be umlauted in German. So we can't umlaut this I, and then that makes the final answer for the plural of Tisch just Tische, right? No umlaut. Then so likewise with the neuter monosyllables that get off, we put on the ER, right? ER, and then we umlaut anytime that we can, right? So we can umlaut the U, so we do, but we can't umlaut the I, so we don't. And we get Bücher and Lichter. All right, so that leaves us with just one final train stop. Train stop number 5, the default plural of an E. So the only nouns that are still left on the train at this point basically fall into one of two categories. We have masculine polysyllables that look very, very German, as in we don't really have any idea what they could possibly mean, such as Beruf and Monat. And then we have neuter polysyllables that are either completely English looking but pronounced differently, such as Talent, right, with that emphasis on the final syllable, or they're English-ish looking, such as Mikrofon, okay? So these nouns get off here and they all take this default E plural. Awesome. So when you combine this plurals hierarchy with a handful of exception lists that get paired along with it, you can accurately know the plural form of almost 100% of German nouns. This is an awesome system. Again, for more, click down below in the description and visit my website so that you can read up more on this topic, okay? And then in the next video, you don't want to miss out on this, we're going to talk about the case system. Why is this important at this point in your German learning? Because when you are building vocabulary, it is not so very useful to drill vocabulary words just on their own, right? To drill der Tisch, die Tische, der Ball, die Bälle. That's not so great. If you, however, practice within context, that's going to stick in your brain. And by context, I mean writing short, very simple sentences like the ball is red, or the table is big, the tables are big, the balls are red, so on and so forth. But you can only do that kind of drilling if you understand the German case system. So again, that's going to be the subject of our next video. You can click on that off to the side here, or if you have not yet seen the first 3 videos in this series, start the series from the beginning, get caught up, and then continue on with the case system. Either way, I'll see you there.